quick.
So, Andrew, if you would please give me permission to share. It took my permissions away.
All right, give me 1 second, Linda.
No problem. No problem. Well, I can actually just say the
Oh, shoot. We're in the same.
So I'm gonna go ahead and throw everybody on mute for now,
perfect. Perfect.
and feel free to come off if you have something to put in. If not, you can always use the chat too.
All right. I have now permission to share. So, thank you, Andrew. So, as we are jumping in today, we want to thank everyone, obviously, for being here. And we're going to have an opportunity to introduce ourselves and get to know one another in a moment. But I want to just start off really strong this morning and be thinking about your thoughts with this quote that you see on the screen from Dale Carnegie. So, as you are looking at this quote, if you would, in the chat, let's hear a thought. Do you agree with this statement? Do you disagree with this statement? Where are you? You can take yourself off mute or you can type something in the chat. Let's see what we got going here. Nice. Thanks, everybody, for letting us know who was in the room at Codings. Ah, Christian, lots of agreement here. Ah, Melissa, would you mind taking yourself off mute and tell us a little bit more about what you had written there? Looks like a lot of people agree with you.
I played college basketball and I had a coach that always told me that luck was when preparation meets opportunity. And it was just embedded in my head. So a little bit more, I guess, to that quote. So
Nice. So first of all, we can't let that lie here. For whom did you play? What was your position?
Yeah, sure. So SEMO at Southeast Missouri State,
Yeah.
and I'm from Dallas. So that is what brought me up here. And I'm 5'11", 6 foot. So I was a forward post player.
Lots of activity on the court. Thank
Yeah.
you for that.
Yeah.
So Kristen had an interesting thought too. Kristen, would you mind coming off mute and giving us your thoughts there?
Yeah. So the way I look at it is you have to make choices in life that lead to chances. And then you have to choose to make those chances. So they're not necessarily separate from each other, but they go together. But it all ultimately starts with you make a choice to do whatever it is.
Nice, nice. Thank you for those thoughts, Kristen. And look at us. Look at the crowd that we have here. You all have made the choice, as Kristen just said, to be here, right? We know everyone's busy. We understand people have a lot of things going in their life, and you made the choice to be here today, as well as the choice to enroll in this course that we're about to embark in. Good morning, everybody. My name is Linda Colvis, and I'm joined by several other people here from the Dale Carnegie office. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Andrew, if you want to kick us off, that'd be great. I know you said your name once, but if you want to let them know what's going on today.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Haberberger, and I am here just to support Linda for this call on the back end. And I kind of am, I guess, the program manager for this. If you have any questions or concerns about anything, you can reach out to me. Linda or Chris, who you'll meet in a second, will be the one in the classroom with you every week. I'm just here to support in whatever way that I can. So don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you all again for being here.
Thanks. All right, Chris, take it away.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Kroger, and I will be the primary facilitator that we will spend the next 8 weeks together, starting next Friday. This will be like my 25th year involved with Dale Carnegie, and absolutely love it. It was life-changing for me when I took it, and this is something that I do part-time. I have a regular job that I've been at Washington University for 35 years and run an office of 20 people. the Carnegie principles that I applied and have learned allowed me to jump ahead. And for sure, my salary increased by 8 times in the last 25 years since I've taken this course. And I believe so much in it that I've had both my kids take it when they were in high school, and they've done incredibly well for themselves since graduation and going on to get professional degrees. So our goal is to create an incredibly positive environment that adds a lot of value to your life in whatever way that might be. Carnegie has existed for more than 100 years. There's no other training program like that because it adapts to what people need at any given time period. The things that we teach, that we facilitate, are timeless and go beyond AI. AI is going to take over a lot of things that we do, is taking over a lot of things that we do, but the core things that we focus on in the next 8 weeks are things that AI cannot replace. So really look forward to spending the next 8 weeks together. You are all going to really bond well together. You're going to get to know each other better than your neighbors and sometimes some of your coworkers. So all I ask is that you kind of come in with an open mind, suspend disbelief, and really jump into it and get to know each other as best as you can. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chris. Chris said so many things in there, and I've had the honor to work with Chris many, many times. So you all are in for a treat when you get to work with him. And as he mentioned, this is really about you and your needs, not what Carnegie has to offer. Yes, we've got lots of things to promote and to facilitate, but this is all what you want to get out of the course. We have, as Chris mentioned, been around for a heck of a lot of a number of years. And one of our famous alum is this gentleman right here. Is anybody familiar with this face? Do you know who this might be? You can type it in the chat or you can come off mute.
Warren Buffett.
Oh, yes. So what do you know about Warren Buffett? Anyone? Lawrence is hooking us up, I think.
He's one of the richest men in the world, isn't he?
He is indeed. And for over 4 decades, he has been in the top at least 15, but typically 10 or above. Right now, he's number 11 in terms of being the richest person in the world. And he is an investor. And when you talk about investment, Warren Buffett will tell you that this course was his single greatest investment. And it was really because he made it about himself. While, as Chris mentioned, we're going to give you some tools. He took those tools and obviously ran with them. So much so that when he was in the course, he actually built up enough courage to ask somebody out. And he has now been, he has been was married to her for over 50 years, but he got the courage to ask this woman out. And then, things blossomed and he carried that through and they were married for 50 years until her passing. So he believes that this was his single best investment. And many of you probably already know that other folks have also agreed because we globally have been welcomed and honored with the idea of helping over 9 million people. It says 8, but we're closer to the 9 million mark now, people that have come through the course. So we're actually going to jump into a breakout here in a moment. And Andrew, we're going to be in small groups. So say like 4 people. When we get into those small breakouts, I'm just going to give us an opportunity to talk about what it is you decided to join this course, right? Because we talk about being intentional, and it sounds like you all were intentional to be here. And why did you enroll? What is it about Dale Carnegie that made you get excited to be in this session and in this course? Before we jump into that breakout, and Andrew, we'll be in there for about 8 minutes because that'll give everybody about 1.5 minutes to talk after they introduce themselves. Before we jump in, out of curiosity, Chris and I are wondering, How many of us here on this call are here supporting somebody who's going to be going through this course? So you are either their team lead, you work with them and you're supporting them, you're perhaps their manager. So Melissa, I see your hand. Anybody else here in that capacity? All right. Oh, we've got a couple of other managers. Thank you all for being here. So managers, when you get into the breakouts with the people, so obviously you're not necessarily going to go through the program yourself, but what is it that you're excited for the person that you're here supporting? So what is it about this course that you're excited for them to encounter? So before we go into the breakout, who has a question about what we're about to do? So why did you enroll? What are you looking forward to? All righty. Nice, Melissa. Okay, thanks for that. Andrew, I don't see anybody that mentions they have questions. So when you're ready, if you'll send us to the breakout and explain what's about to happen before we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've never been in a Zoom breakout before, it's actually pretty easy. There's not much that you need to do. I'll go ahead and click a button on my side. It'll automatically move you into a breakout room with 2 or 3 other people. And Linda, you said we'll be in there for what, about 8 minutes or so?
Yes, please.
Yep. Great, talking about what you're most excited about for the course coming up. At the end of that 8 minutes, you'll get a 30-second notice to kind of wrap up the conversation before you're moved automatically back into the main room here. So there's nothing you need to do, like I said, until you get into the room. And just to make it easy, we will go with the first person to speak. We'll go reverse alphabetical order. So last name. So if your name starts with a Z, you can go first. All right. Have fun. We'll see you back here in a little bit.
Thank you, Andrew. Great news. There comes rewards and opportunities for people when they show up first. And you actually drew the honor of showing up back into the main room first. So Anthony Bazell, we are going to invite you to tell us something that you heard in your room. You're like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. What did you hear in your small group, Anthony?
Really, I would say probably just the fact that I'm not alone and in my boat. Definitely a lot of people in the same walk of life and coming from companies with a very large diverse background. So I illustrated to them that working on my leadership skills to bridge those gaps, and now I'll be able to do that with like-minded people.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you for letting us know why people are showing up. And it does feel good to know that, hey, we're not alone. And as we go through this program, we're going to find that more and more we have in common with folks that really want the same goals that we have in mind. And some of us have completely different goals. And as Chris mentioned previously, that's the beauty of this course. We're coming to fill our bucket. We're coming to drink from a hose in order to fill a bucket the way we need it to be filled. So when we talk about where we're heading today and the purpose of this session, it really is to get to know one another, get to know people that are going to be in our courses. We've got courses here from Kansas City, and we've got a group of people that are going to take a course here in St. Louis as well. And so when we think about where we are heading and what we're going to do in this time that's remaining today, what we're going to be talking about are the items here on this screen. And most importantly, we want to prep you and get you thinking about what it is we're going to be accomplishing in the 8 weeks time period, because we don't want this to be a waste of your time, right? We want every person to get every single thing that they can out of this course. And Anthony mentioned a moment ago that as he's thinking about his leadership opportunities and his growth opportunities, and sounds like the other people in the room with him were also thinking there, we're going to be leveraging lots of different tools, but at the end of the day, it's what we put into it that's going to help us be these people that we want to be on the other side of these 8 weeks. And so Dale Carnegie lets us know that if we are not in the process of becoming that person we want to be, we're automatically remaining the person that we don't intend to be, right? And so we consider this a transformational program, and Chris already alluded to that. And so when you think about yourself and you think about why you enrolled, what are you hoping to get from it? As Anthony just mentioned, he wants to be a better leader. And you think about those people in your world that you would consider to be successful. What are the traits of the people that you consider successful? We can fill up the chat box here. We can take ourselves off mute. What do you consider traits of people who are successful, regardless of their roles? What are those traits? Let's see what thoughts people have. Absolutely. Likability, relatability. Oh, look at the different words that are coming in here, right? There's Philip Soller. Would you mind taking yourself off mute for a moment? Because you chose a pretty powerful word there. Philip, what made you say what you just wrote there?
Because in my line of work, which is in the safety of our plant, it's very important that when you're talking to people, you have their trust, because they're looking to you for guidance on safety at their plant. And if they don't have confidence in what you're saying, kind of becomes a big problem.
Absolutely. So if you agree with Philip that trust is a key component of successful leading, you can choose a reaction on your screen. You can just wave and give a thumbs up. Look at all those reactions. Absolutely. We see a lot of individuals that wrote the word accountability. We see adaptability. Yeah. Oh my goodness. We've got the listening. So as we're considering those traits of successful people, look at what many of us have identified. Many of the words that are in that chat, if you scroll that chat, you will see that the greatest majority of the things that people have written are not necessarily those skills in terms of, yes, having the capacity to, but it's also those things that bring the attitude, the trust, the willing. We saw listening, right? And so we think about where we are heading. We are going to be looking at all of those traits and how can we hone in on those traits ourselves. And when we also think about our successes, without question, we're thinking about the people with whom we work and who work with us, for us, above us, below us, across. And really the focus of this program isn't necessarily that middle component that you see on their screen here, behavioral change. And yes, it is going to be behavioral based because we're going to challenge ourselves to try some different things. But what we really want to focus on are those traits that we talked about before that you all put up there: adaptability, trustworthiness, holding ourselves accountable. We're going to talk about how do we transform and hone in on behavioral skills, absolutely, but also those things that make us, those emotional components, those ideas like trust and holding ourselves accountable. Somebody mentioned approachability, likability. So we're going to be talking about how do we hone in on those things in order to do something different and then ultimately have another outcome that we're looking toward. And Anthony mentioned he wants to be a better leader, right? So that performance change, so that we get some things from this course. So the beauty of this course is we are going to have some tools. We're going to have an opportunity to put those tools in place and really be focused on ourselves and who we are, as well as the people that are working with us, for us, and beside us. So we talk about this being a transformational process, and I can't wait to be the fly on the wall. I'll be joining some of you in St. Louis so that we can see some of these things unfold. The way that this program is designed is really to take a look at what we're going to consider the cycle of performance improvement. We're going to think about what are those outcomes that we want in the end? What are we hoping to accomplish? And then we're going to be taking a look at, of course, what knowledge am I going to leverage? What skills am I going to be using? We have to ask, do I have the right attitudes? And everybody does in this room, because they might not have had the opportunity to show up and they made it happen regardless. So we know you have the right attitude. The thing that we're really going to focus on in this course is really putting all of these ideas and processes and discussions into practice. And you'll notice that there's a little drop here when we talk about the knowledge trap, because obviously we're going to come and we're going to hear some insights from one another, and we're going to talk about those things. So we're going to gain that knowledge. And we know that some people have this knowledge and they've gained it, and yet they don't necessarily do anything with it. So we're going to encourage one another, and that's everybody you see in this room. We're going to encourage one another by letting them practice things. And we are going to coach. Chris and I and Marla will be your facilitator in Kansas City, and she wasn't able to join us here today because she has another full-time job as well. And so when we talk about this practice component, that is really what differentiates Dale Carnegie's programs from other trainings. So we're going to have an opportunity to be coached and to coach one another so that we can continue to gain some new skills and then build. And so then we can become those people that we want to become and see that transformational process. So this is the core of what it is we're going to be doing. And all of this to be said, this whole program is designed to incorporate what we consider these 5 drivers of success. And so when you look at these 5 drivers of success, Chris, Andrew, and I, and every other Dale Carnegie person believes that every person in this space and every person that comes to our program already have a degree of self-confidence. They've already got leadership skills that they can leverage. They've already got great people skills, communication skills, right? They have what they need, and it's just taking it up a notch, leveling that up. And so when you look at these, what we consider 5 drivers of success, the one I haven't mentioned yet is reducing our stress and improving our attitude. That's also something that we talk about, and we're going to be leveraging and elevating the reduction of that stress. When you look at these 5 drivers and you think about yourself and you think about your leadership and your collaboration with others, or helping others in your team elevate themselves, as you're looking at this list and you think about those outcomes that you want to change in yourself and in your teams, which of these 5 drivers would have the biggest impact on you and your team? So we're going to be thinking about that. So which of these 5 drivers would have the biggest impact on you and your team? And why do you say that? So in a moment, we're going to have an opportunity, Andrew. We're going to pop into breakouts again. And again, if we'll be like 4 or 5 people, that would be great. And we're only going to be in there for about 6 minutes. So that gives us a chance to say, hey, hello. And then we're going to say, which of these drivers for me is important to focus on to get the outcomes that I'm looking for? And why do I say that? I will be happy to share this slide in the breakout so you don't have to remember all 5 of them. But again, which one's important to me and which one would have the greatest impact? And why do I say that? So since we're only going to be in there for about 6 minutes, that'll give each of us about a minute to say what we want to say, and then we'll move on to the other folks in the room. So before we jump into our breakouts, who has a question about what we're about to do? And again, I'll share this slide so you don't have to remember what it says. All right, Andrew, I don't see any questions from the field, so to speak. So when you're ready.
All right, perfect. This time we're going to go reverse alphabetical order by first name.
There we go.
Starting off. Here we go. 6 minutes. We'll see you back shortly.
Thanks. Alrighty, they should have this. Oh, should we hit pause? See that. So thank you. So Elisa, what you didn't, you may have heard when Anthony made his way back, when you get to be the first person back to the room, there's an honor to the main room. And the honor is, we're going to ask you to come off mute and tell us what the folks in your room talked about. Why are they glad they're here? What are they working toward?
Yeah, a lot of us said strengthening people skills and just kind of working on communicating in a way that is more receptive to other people.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you. Like, am I saying your name properly, by the way?
It's Eliza.
Eliza, my apologies. There's this really incredible man whose name happens to be Dale Carnegie that tells us a person's name is to that person the sweetest, most important sound in any language. So Eliza, my apologies. I want to say that correctly. Melissa, you had your hand up. Did you want to add something to that?
So it's interesting because our group, the first person mentioned that reducing stress was important because then they could really focus on the top four, because that part they weren't really able to do that. And then one of their coworkers who happened to be in our group said, for me, if I can get the first four, then number 5 will come naturally. And I was like, wow. So we had a good group. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting food for thought. I don't know if anybody else had that in their groups, but it was a good takeaway for me.
It is indeed food for thought, and we need to acknowledge the people who had those powerful insights, because they obviously made an impression on you just with thinking about those things. What I'm hearing ultimately is that we see how they're all united, right? And we see the beauty of how those come together. Eliza, you said something pretty powerful as well. And what I heard you say was, in order for others to connect. And that sentiment right there is actually one of Dale Carnegie's key principles. And that's principle number 17, which is try honestly to see things from the other person's perspective. And you did a beautiful job, you and your team, it sounds like your group that you worked with, of knowing the power that your words, your communication style has on those. And when we can consistently do that, that's what's going to be making the difference. So thank you all for your rich conversations that you had in your room. So between now and the time you get into your session, we're going to have an opportunity to really be thinking about these 5 drivers. And we're going to be thinking about, what would it look like if I tried to do something different and really stepped outside my comfort zone and tried something different and had what we're going to call a breakthrough. And I'm sure we all have our own definitions of the word breakthrough, but really it's just doing something different, trying something else. And we've got a platform that we're all going to be working in called Evolve. In a moment, I'm going to mention that if you aren't able to get into Evolve, we're going to invite you to contact Andrew, and then we'll work all that out. But we have this Evolve platform, and you're going to see on the screen, and we have here, there's like a portion of the screen that you'll see there, that the white and the blue on the left-hand side of the screen in Evolve. That's where you're going to scroll, and it will tell you exactly where you need to be working. And that's the sections that we're going to be talking about. The breakthrough section, we're going to ask you to look at what's called between the sessions. And it's going to invite you to be thinking about, what would you be doing differently if you had a breakthrough in these areas? For instance, a breakthrough for me in reducing stress and worry would be that I'm sleeping through the night. A breakthrough in communicating effectively would be that the folks in a Zoom call would understand clearly what it is I'm imparting, the message that I'm imparting. So we're going to think about those breakthroughs. They might not be 100%. They might not be polished. It's okay. Let's just try to get something down in this Evolve platform and be thinking about that. The one thing I will mention about Evolve is while it's really intuitive and very useful and helpful to you as a learner, the one thing that's not intuitive is it does not have an automatic save. So when you're in Evolve, be sure to scroll all the way down in each of the pages and hit the blue word that says save. It will be your friend if you can manage that. So each of us should have been given a login, and this happens to be my colleague's login. So if you didn't, on the screen, we've mentioned, you just met Andrew today, we've mentioned that he will be able to help you. Is there anyone here on the call that, if you haven't had the opportunity to sign in, we understand that wasn't an expectation, but
Well,
is there anyone that already knows they're having a challenge before we move forward?
take that silence as a good thing. I did drop the links in the chat as well. I've also sent it out in both of the emails, and I'll be sending it out once more before your classes kick off. So be on the lookout for that. And once again, if you're having any trouble locating the course or anything like that, just reach out to me. Happy to help.
Thanks, Andrew. He's always taking care of all of us. And so when we look at this Dale Carnegie platform, here's what it looks like, right? And so there's going to be an opportunity to watch some videos to get you thinking. And again, this is a working tool. It's not a one and done for us because we realize that as we get into a program, we might be changing our thoughts and our ideas. But earlier in the program, we mentioned that this is a transformational program and we want to think about outcomes. So one of the things that we're going to do between now and the time our sessions start is to be thinking about who is that person that I want to be going forward, right? When you're thinking about that, we're going to consider that our vision. What's our roadmap? What's our place we're heading? And for this process, some of us may have already written a professional vision. Others of us may have never done so. On the screen, I've put a few descriptions. Which of those would describe you in terms of writing a vision for yourself? You can just pop a number in the chat. Yeah. Well, when Anthony mentioned earlier, it's good to know I'm not alone. If you're looking at the screen, that's most of us, right? So maybe thought about it, haven't considered, right? And so we're not alone. And it's okay that this doesn't come to the first session as a polished idea. What Chris and Marla and I and everybody at Dale Carnegie are going to invite you to do is to be thinking about your vision. And there's a place on Evolve to get us thinking more about our vision. Really, we can be thinking about that ultimate goal, that outcome. What is it that I'm looking towards? We can be thinking about that. And then what would it mean to me at the end of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months from now? What is that goal that I'm setting for myself? And what is it that I'm going to be able to do? And so those are just some food for thought questions to get us thinking. And so when you're involved in this vision component, this writing process, the Evolve platform is going to ask us to think of 3 words that we would like us to be described at. We want others to see us in this mode, in this way. And the other thing the vision is going to ask us to do is think in terms of present tense. While it is the future and it's the outcome, pardon me, we're going to be thinking about Who do I want others to say that I am? Remember when we were talking about that transformational process? B, do, get, who am I? I am articulate. I am approachable. I am authentic. I am trustworthy. You all had some really powerful leadership traits, successful traits earlier. That's what's going to be asked of us on this vision as well. And again, think about where we're heading. Think about what it is we want what we want ultimately. Again, on Evolve, after you fill in your vision, be sure and hit save so that you have that. So you have that. And while it's a working document, we don't want to rework everything. So be sure and hit save. So when we think about going far and going fast, there's a African proverb that we really like here, because this program is designed for us collectively to coach and to work with one another, as well as invite other people from our teams to help us. So those of us that enrolled with a manager contact when we signed on, those individuals will be receiving a manager's guide. And really what this manager's guide is, there's a lot of words on the piece of paper on the screen right now. I don't expect you to read those, but it's just for you to know that we will be sending a manager's guide to those folks so that they can support you in your journey here that we're getting ready to embark in, right? So there's some questions, some food for thought, some things that they can be asking you. What would it say about you as a leader if you were to, number one, let your manager know that this is coming? Number two, offer to have that conversation and say, hey, I'd like to schedule 15 minutes. Erica, yes, if you will let us know. Erica, if you'll look in the chat, Erica asked, can we get this if we didn't type that in previously? Absolutely, we can. And all we'll need is your manager's contact information. So back to the question, and we can type an idea in the chat. What would it say about us as leaders if we approached our managers with some of these questions? Let's see a few thoughts here in the chat. If we were the one to schedule the meeting or to let them know it's coming, what would this say about us? You're all so patient. You're waiting for others to fill in that chat box. Nice. Thanks for getting us started, Melissa. You bet. Yes, look at all those insightful comments. Absolutely. When we talked about traits of successful people, if we do jump in and we take the initiative and we invite those conversations, we're already setting ourselves up for success. So just know that the manager's guides are coming, and this is what it looks like. So before we move forward, just tossing this out there, who has a question? I'm gonna have an opportunity in a moment for us to ask questions. But before we do, I'm gonna show us exactly what it is we're expecting between now and the next session, and then I'll break into questions. So what we're gonna ask is that everybody jump into Evolve. And then there's a little assessment there that we're going to ask you to take. That should only take you about 15 minutes. If you want to spend more time, wonderful. There's also some resources that are going to be forwarded to you. Again, they're really intuitive. They're easy to obtain. Andrew does an incredible job of outlining exactly how to get that. And then we're going to be thinking about that vision. The reason that we're asking you to bring a laptop is everything that we're going to be doing is in Evolve. And so that's going to be that electronic platform. We've had people bring tablets, and we've had people bring phones. I'll be quite frank, the tablets work fine, but it's really kind of tricky on your phone because they're so small. So we would suggest a laptop over the others, but we've also known that, oh my goodness, it just left me, that tablets work as well. So we've known that. So before we head out, I've got a couple of things, but I want to make sure I'm opening this up for questions. So who has a question that would be useful for all of us to hear? Chris, I'm not seeing any questions from the crowd. Before we sign off, would you like to add something? I'll follow up when you're finished.
Thank you. Thanks, Linda. So businesses don't stay in operation if they don't deliver value to their customers. We've all seen businesses fail and go out of business because of that. The reason Carnegie has existed for over 100 years is because it focuses offering value to all of you. And you all are busy people. You got busy families and organizational lives. When you're driving in on Friday morning, there was going to be times you think, man, I'm just too busy to go to that Dale Carnegie session today. I got too many emails, too many projects to work on. Take the time and spend that time with us. My commitment to you as the facilitator is that when you leave there, you're going to leave feeling like, wow, I'm really glad I spent that time this morning. It was worth it. I'm taking something of value from it. So that's my commitment to you, is that when you leave that session, you're going to feel like it was worthwhile. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday.
And what you all don't know is Chris is being very modest because it's more than a commitment from him. It is a guarantee that he is dedicating himself to you all and helping you get the things that you want and need from this opportunity. So before we head out, I have one final question, and we could have somebody come off mute. I know they're going to know the answer. When you look at this image, anybody know what this is?
Linda, we're seeing your
Oh, you're not seeing what I want you to see. Are you? Oh, thank you. How about that? Thanks, Andrew. So Dale Carnegie tells us if we make a mistake, admit it quickly and emphatically. I am quickly and emphatically mentioning that I made a mistake. But now you see what we were wanting to see. Who knows what this is on the screen?
That's a bamboo forest.
It is indeed. Anybody know what type of bamboo it is?
One that grows really tall and really fast.
It does. It does indeed. In fact, it's called a maso bamboo. And the interesting thing about this maso bamboo is before it grows really tall and really fast, when it is planted, you see nothing above the ground for a full 5 years. And after that 5 years, then it grows really fast. We're talking 2.5 feet per day, so that it's about 90 feet within 6 weeks. So what does that have to do with us? You have that really solid root system. It's you, it's your family, it's your colleagues, it's your team. The root system is there. And now it's our opportunity to leverage that root system and grow in ways that we want to grow as leaders. Thank you all for being here today. I'm going to stay on screen for a while in case you have any questions that you didn't want to share with the big group. I'll be around. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you all for your insights and for your participation. Looking forward to hearing how things go after this is over.
Thank you.
You bet.